Hey guys, it's Jim. Welcome back to part two of my Saturday night wine and knives ramble. I only had to make this a two-parter because my camera cuts me off at 23 minutes for some reason I can't figure out. So let's continue on where we were. Let's see, we just finished talking about Jake Hoback and the incredible Quayback. The next thing I kind of wanted to get into was fixed blades are starting to appeal to me, and I never thought that would ever happen. I am so much a folder guy, and here's why. It's not because I don't like fixed blades. It's that I find no practical purpose in my everyday life for them. With a folder, almost regardless of size, I drop this bad boy in my pocket. I go about my day. It's portable, it's small, because it folds in half, and I can carry it in my pocket wherever I go. If I should need a knife, it's there at my disposal at any time. So I never really gave fixed blades a second look. And now, thanks to Instagram and YouTube, watching some of my friends getting some really cool knives, I see some that I look at and go, well, yeah, see some of the battle scars there? I told you all I carry and use all my shit. I don't care if this doubled in value since I purchased it, and I purchased it at double its actual value at the time. I use all my shit. I came to the realization that there are fixed blades that I could very easily EDC. And I'm going to have to start looking into them. Now, the first one that actually excited me and got me interested was made by Ryan, our good friend, New York knife maker. If you're not subscribed to his channel, you need to be. He's a super cool dude. And he makes some pretty bitchin' little knives. And he and I started talking about two and a half months ago about him making me my first fixed blade. I mean, I have a fixed blade. I have my Browse Blades Coroner in the limited edition Zombie, but I'm not going to walk out with a Coroner strapped to my leg. So we talked about him making me my first EDC style fixed blade. And it's been a while. He's gone through some things at home, and I guess the sheath maker he was working with kind of dicked him over. At least that's the way it seems to me. I don't know. We've never discussed it. Some other things have come up, so it's been a little bit delayed. But he has shown me progress on it. It's made it into a couple of his more recent videos, and it should be ready any time now. And I got a funny feeling that's going to be where I'm going to be on my slippery slope right there. When I get that and go, oh damn, it's a pocketable fixed blade that I could run around with all day. I like experiencing new things. It's fun. So I got a funny feeling that that's going to cost me a lot of money just by getting that one knife. And I have found more and more and more that have excited me, especially from Olamic. If you guys haven't seen Olamic cutlery and seen the knives that they do, oh my God. Y'all really need to check them out. Check out their website, check out their Facebook page, and check out especially their Instagram. They're putting out pictures almost every single day of gorgeous stuff. Now, they did start making some tactical folders. I am on Eugene's list for one of the flippers, Generation 2 flipper. We're going to be doing some cool, interesting custom things to that. And yeah, their fixed blades, the stuff they do in Damascus, oh my God, it's insane. This still hasn't broken in yet. I still got to work on that. Para 2 review will be coming at some point someday once I get it broken into where I want it to be. So when I finally decided to jump on the bandwagon, I start noticing more and more and more awesomeness out there. And I got a feeling I'm going to end up owning as many fixed blades as I do folders. By the way, my Brian Ty Joel Perella here, that you guys saw the review on, my Ultimate Grail, this thing broke in so sweet. It flies open now, super smooth, super easy to close. That's just barely pushing down on it. But you really give it a good flip. I love that sound. It's different than all my other flippers. Listen to it again. What a beautiful sound that makes. You know, it's still not like the RJs. Nothing really is. That's still the sexiest sound in all of knives to me. And there's some sexy sounding knives out there, believe me. So yeah, I think it's going to be kind of a dangerous thing for me. And actually, what really put me over the edge was once I got my teeny tiny little Kiradashi from Gavco. Mike made me this bitchin' little Kiradashi. Totally love it. Use it all the time as a neck knife. Ridiculously sharp. And I love the fact that it was inexpensive and easy to own. Because there just aren't that many really cool knives out there that you would call inexpensive these days. So yeah, that's my little thing on fixed blades. I do want to clarify my thoughts a little bit on production knives. Some people have been responding to a few of my videos thinking that I dog on production knives, or that because I own so many mid-techs and customs that I don't have an appreciation for production knives anymore. And you know what? That's not really true. Yes, I should say no, I don't own very many production knives anymore. But I still go back. If you go back to, I think, the third or fourth video I ever did, one of my favorite knives, I still own it. I still use it. I still carry it. My good old-fashioned Mannix 2. Still got the same lanyard on it and everything. Nothing's changed. I still love that knife. I still tell people when they ask, if I want to spend less than $150 on a good knife, what do I get? That's always the first thing that rolls off my tongue. And if there's somehow, some way you can find a paramilitary too, you should do that as well. And then I broke this out on Instagram the other day, and people freaked. They're like, really? You own a $30 Spyderco? Hell yeah, I do. Oh my God, if you don't own a Tenacious, you don't know what you're missing out on. This is a fantastic little knife. You know, this was a sprint run, so you can't get the blue anymore. I think somebody said that somebody offered him one. It was like $100. I'm sorry, I wouldn't pay $100 for it at that point. There are so many other Spydercos or maybe other knives that I would look at instead. But this is a fantastic little knife. And you know what? I can beat the tar out of it and not feel guilty about it. You know, I'm going to do a lot more hard work with that than I'm going to do with this. That's just the way it is. One has collector value and one doesn't. So don't think that just because I have a few nicer knives that I don't respect and don't love production knives. I've actually got my eyes on two production knives right now. I'm going to be getting one of the Bokers. They did the GTC Federal. I'm going to get one of those because it's just fun and it's cool and it's neato. And there is a new Zero Tolerance. It's about to, actually, I think it already dropped. But it's that Todd Rexford design, but the limited edition that has the bronzed or almost brown titanium and the carbon fiber inlays. I'm going to get one of those for sure. So there's still production knives out there that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I just look at it right now as I have enough production knives right now that I'm perfectly happy with, that if I have a task that I don't feel like using one of my more expensive knives for, I have enough to choose from in these that I don't really need to buy anymore. That's all it is. So when I choose to buy a knife now, I want something unique, something that somebody else doesn't have, something that gives me a certain degree of pride of ownership. If I happen to bump into a knife guy, I don't know, we're out somewhere and I see a guy with a really cool knife in his hand, I go, oh, hey, I collect knives too. You know, I would rather not, if the guy's holding something, you know, something pretty nice. I don't want to call myself a knife collector and then whip this out. You know, I would much rather pull out something like this. So they go, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. I've never actually seen one of those in person. It's really fun to expose people to things they haven't seen. Anybody can see a Kershaw blur, you know, or something like that. So I do it a lot of times just for the fun factor. It's fun to be able to share those interesting and unique things with other people. That's why I love and I'm so thankful for my Guest Blade series, because I'm able to share with you knives that you can't get, I can't get, or we're all having a hard time trying to get. We'll get some someday, that our friends, our collector friends, are donating to the cause and sending to me to borrow for a couple of days so that we can experience it together. I find no greater joy in this hobby than doing that. I love doing that series. And I'm going to be expanding on that too. I have a lot more stuff coming in. A lot of very, very generous collectors have stepped up and said, hey, I'd love to send you this. I'd love to send you that. There is a caveat to that, though, and I do want to discuss that here if you've considered possibly doing that. The big thing for me is you guys know that I am unbiased in my views. No matter how great a knife is, if there's an issue, I'm going to speak about it. And I've done it on almost every knife I've owned has had some little thing here and there that I would have changed. The very few exceptions, the Todd Begg Bodega, my Rockstead. And actually on the Rockstead, I nitpicked a little bit on that. There's not many knives out there that I would say are 100% perfect. And the difficult thing for me as I do this project is I have to keep in mind that this is a knife that belongs to somebody else. And case in point, I'll bring out one of Justin's beautiful knives. This is going to be sent back in the next day. I love this Southern, everything about it. This was one of the most flawless examples of a custom knife I've ever seen in my entire life. But let's say for a moment there was something glaringly wrong with the design or the execution of this knife. Then I'm set up with, I either go back on my word to my subscribers and I bullshit my way through the review and not bring up those points, or I possibly disrespect the person that sent me the knife by saying I don't like it for some reason, or I don't like it as a whole possibly. Because you got to realize that that's like telling somebody that their baby is ugly. You may know it's ugly, and they may know it's ugly, but you're not going to tell somebody that something precious to them is hideous. So it's going to be difficult. There's one knife that's been offered to me 3 different times by 3 different people, and I've said no each time. And I think I'm just going to do it if I find the right person, because it's a knife I already have a distaste for on a few different levels. And what I've wanted to avoid doing was getting somebody's knife out here and going, it's a stupid design. It makes no sense to me. Now that I've seen it up close, I can verify that it's even stupider in real life and start picking it apart. I don't want to do that with somebody else's precious possession, because just like with what I have, you may not like everything I have sitting out here in my collection, and I don't care. You didn't pay for it. But I did like it. I liked it enough to spend the money that I spent and do whatever hard work I had to do to try to obtain it, because I wanted it. So if I have it, that means I love it. So if you're sending me your knife, that means you love it. You have it in your collection and you love it. So I'm walking a very thin line right there. So what I would say is this: before anyone sends me a message to say that they would like to submit their knife in for a guest blade episode, think about this. Jim may find the most utterly ridiculous things to pick out on my knife. Can I handle the criticism? It's something, I didn't make it, but it's something that I own and I enjoy and I love. Can I handle him picking it apart? So please do keep that in mind. If you decide you want to do something, I'm more than happy to. I'm always going to be respectful. But that one knife in particular, I'm so curious about it that I do want to hold it in my own hands. I do want to do the review because I'm kind of hoping maybe that my initial thoughts of it may be wrong just because I haven't held it. So if I do get the chance, I have to be unbiased. I have to be able to say, these are the pros, these are the cons, these are what makes the knife worth the money or doesn't make the knife worth the money. So with that in mind, feel free to contact me if you want to send something out. That's the best I can say. So far, so good. So far, I've loved every knife that was sent. I know a lot of you guys felt I didn't have a particular love for that zero tolerance 0600. I tried to be as clear as I could, and I just think people don't listen to everything. I loved the knife. I thought it was a really fantastically built, high-quality knife. It had a couple of small issues. I brought them up. But I think when I said, it's a great knife, but it's not $400 great, people stopped listening. They didn't listen to how I quantified that statement. It is a great knife, but I could spend less on a 0560 or 561 and get what is, in my opinion, a better knife from the exact same brand. It's not the fact that it's a production knife. In that very same video, I was comparing it to my Q36s, and I picked apart the things about the Q36 that I think are ridiculous. The very cheaply made spring clip. It's very functional. It works very well. But a clip like that does not belong on a knife like this. It's a generic parts bin special. And the fact that the liner lock pinches the living hell out of your thumb and destroys the end of your thumb every time you go to close it. It's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to pick apart the things that I own. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how well revered it is. If it's great, like so far, I have yet to find one thing that I dislike about my paramilitary 2. Now I'm comparing a knife that is generally going